Bet Gimel? Aleph Bet Gimel. We are beginning this evening, and we welcome those joining in online, with Shalom Aleichem on page number 5. And don't take Shalom Aleichem for granted. At some point over the span of the past 8-ish, 9-ish, 100, 1,000, 11-ish, 100-ish years, give or take, Shalom Aleichem, which had been a song sung in people's homes, migrated to the shul. And when I think of a song calling out, expressing peace to angels, to accord honor at a family's home, there's a sense of comfort and esteem that arises. That's the original intent of Shalom Aleichem, that people's homes would be spiritually prepared to receive guests, and the guests are angels from the realm, as we say in Hebrew, the Yeshiva Shalmala, the Heavenly Academy. And then at a certain point in time, some hundreds of years ago, that yearning for a home to be calm and peaceful enough to receive angels from upon high into itself was transported to the shul. When we sing Shalom Aleichem, found here on page 5, what we're actually hoping is that by coming into a place dedicated for communal identity and prayer, we're going to have that same sense of being at home, as Shalom Aleichem was trying to do initially 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100 years ago. And being at home with the confidence that angels want to be within our midst elevates us. And that's what we're trying to do this evening, to gain that same sense of being elevated. When we sing Shalom Aleichem, we're demonstrating a sense of confidence that we are valued enough that angels want to be sitting right next to us. What a glorious expression that the Siddur asserts, that you and I are honored enough for angels to want to visit us. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashoret, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yedid Nefesh on page number 10. Yedid Nefesh is code. Code is that each and every one of us is a soul. The code is written in poetry. If you look at those four stanzas, the first stanza, Yud, the second stanza, Hey, Hadur, the third stanza, Vatik, Vav, the fourth stanza, Higaleh. You see those first four letters, one of each stanza. And that's God's name, which you and I can't pronounce. And so we make a feeble attempt and we say Adonai, which means my God. But we don't exactly know what the Yud and the Hand of Vav and Hey actually were. So we're in the province of poetry. And poetry puts forth that the soul is a glimmer of God's name, God's essence, God's identity within each one of us. And when we're singing Yedid Nefesh here on page 10, we're singing to God, but in a way we're also singing about each one of us having a soul. We're singing to God, but we're singing of the essence of God within us. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Mishoch Avdach El Ritzonach Yarutz Avdach Kemo Ayal Yishtachaveh Mohadarach Ki Yeravlo Yedidotach Mino Fetzuv Vechol Tam Hadur Nae Ziv Olam Nafshi Cholat Avotach Ana Elna Refana Allah Biharot La Noam Zivach Az Titchazek V'Titrape V'Hayetalach Shivchat Olam Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai 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 Yada yada die 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 die, yada die 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 die, yada die 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 die, yada die die die, yada die 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 die, yada die 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 die, yada die 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 die. On page 11, now we're ready. We need to prepare ourselves to be ready to sing. That's the beginning of the Kabbalat Shabbat service. Lechon eranen al Adonai, nari al etzur yishenu, nikad mafana b'torah, bizmirot nari alo, nikad mafana b'torah, bizmirot nari alo, ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher biyado mekerei aretz v'toafot harim lo asher biyado mekerei aretz v'toafot harim lo. On page 12 on the English side. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted like the people at Merivah, like that time at Massah in the desert, when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way. So in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. This is a psalm, which is a religious poem. It's not the same as Torah. The religious poem has a different view of the events of our biblical history. You remember that Merivah and Massah is the location where the people doubted the spies. 10 spies came back and said, it's a beautiful land, but we are like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we can't go in, we'll be destroyed by the Canaanites. And 2, Joshua and Caleb said, if we believe in ourselves and believe in God, we can go in and we will have to work, we'll have to fight, we'll have to settle in the land promised to us ever since the days of Abraham, which was almost 500 years beforehand. But people believed in the voice of a larger group, the group of 10, as opposed to a smaller group of 2 voices whom you and I might have thought are outliers. That's the book of Exodus. The book of Psalms is something else. They were hard-hearted. And what is it that defined them as hard-hearted according to this psalm that opens the Shabbat service? They didn't know my way. They went astray. What was it about their hearts that led them away and astray from God? And I would say that the psalm is saying they didn't have self-confidence. They weren't willing to look inside themselves and say, I have, in essence, within itself, that is part of a chain that goes back hundreds of years. I have an identity that is strong and deserving of being recognized and attended to. And I'm willing to put myself forward along with everybody else, for we all share that sacred identity to make our way in the world. They didn't have that. And so they were missing something of the heart. Maybe that's why this opens the Friday night service. Maybe as we begin our week, our respite, we're supposed to ask, what kind of a heart do we have? This leads us into courage, willingness to stand next to fellow Jews in challenging times. Asher nishpati v'apim yavon el menuchati. On page number 14. It's the little red arrow at the top of the bottommost stanza. It's found here in the transliteration as well as Yismuch Hashmayim. Yismuchu Hashamayim, Yismuchu Hashamayim, Yismuchu Hashamayim, V'tagel Haaretz. Yismuchu Hashamayim, Yismuchu Hashamayim, Yismuchu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. Yeramayam, 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 Omalo. On page 19 on the English side, on page 19, the opening section of this psalm, Psalm 99, looking at this psalm on the English side, just those 4 stanzas. On page 19, Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, awe-inspiring, Holy One. A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly. Exalt Adonai, bow down before God, the Holy One. Stop there. This is a psalm, a spiritual poem. It's opening the doorway into Friday night to Shabbos. What's the definition of a sovereign? Loving justice. Justice is critical for a society. That's what this psalm is teaching us. It's 3,000 years old. First brought into the Friday night service only 500 years ago. This is what we're trying to teach the world. Sovereignty does not come from attacking babies and children and ripping apart families, unarmed civilians. That's abuse. Sovereignty, majesty, grandeur come from justice, honor, love, righteousness, dignity, kedusha, a word we don't use enough. It means holiness. That's our message for the world. That's why we're still here, because the world has forgotten. And it's our job to teach the world about holiness and righteousness and justice and love. We're turning to page 22, a meditation before L'Chadodi, in a moment L'Chadodi. But on page 22, a meditation before L'Chadodi. If you would, may your mighty right hand undo the knot that ties us up.
Accept the prayers of your people. You who are revered, raise us up, cleanse us.
Almighty, if you would, guard as the apple of your eye those who seek your unity.
Bless them, cleanse them, have compassion on them, always act justly toward them.
Mighty Holy One, in your abundant goodness, guide your people.
Alone exalted, turn to your people who invoke your holiness.
Listen to our pleas, hear our cries, knowing the hidden depths within us.
Praise the name of the one whose glorious sovereignty is forever and ever.
The Charudi, on page 23, the first 3 stanzas, and then on page 25, the last stanza, L'Chadodi.
לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייכם. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני פני שבת נקבלה. לה לה.
We are seated. you turn to page 26, you will see a greeting which on a number of occasions over the years I've shared with you. And to some extent, this greeting may or may not be appropriate at this time. The original intent of this greeting, which is still maintained, is that when an individual family, having buried a loved one at a cemetery, and had the energy and the strength somehow to stand up from that experience, comes to synagogue for the first time to say Kaddish within the synagogue community stops what it's doing, and the Charudi is always a fun, pleasant, upbeat expression, and the community stops singing and pays attention and attends to the people walking in the door and extends a very special and specific greeting, which we've been saying for 2,000 years. It's a script. We know the words. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar ve'elei Tzion v'Yerushalayim, which rolls off the tongue if you've practiced it. May the one which is the fullness of all place and location console you amidst all those of Zion and Jerusalem who are mourning and have mourned. The hope of that statement is that for people who have suffered loss, and they feel that the ground is opening up beneath them and shaky and unstable, feel connected to a place. Hence the usage of the term Hamakom, and not Adonai or Eloheinu or El Shaddai. Hamakom means the place. And synagogues all over the country, all over the world, are in this terrifying experience, which in a variety of ways is mourning and grief and sorrow. And individuals across the country, across the continent, across the world are similarly experiencing grief and sorrow. We've joined with hundreds of synagogues across North America to have an empty chair beginning last week and on into the future. This is a chair that belongs to Yotam ben Chaim. He's 28. He's from the kibbutz called Kfar Aza. The kibbutz's name is the village of Aza, near Aza. I don't have a picture of him. I imagine he has a family. They have pictures, but they don't have him because he's in a tunnel somewhere. Or, my God, who knows what could be worse, along with more than 200 other people. And that's why this chair, and in synagogues all over the world, and in homes all over Israel, there are empty chairs. Are we supposed to say, Hamakom Yinachem Etchem, to all those families who have empty chairs in their homes and in their shuls? God to know. Because if we say Hamakom Yinachem, this phrase, it means that and so the urgency of hope that these people come back home doesn't even allow us to say this greeting of Hamakom Yinachem. May the place, which is supposed to give you some sense of being stable, comfort you during your period of mourning, because we don't want to accept the reality of mourning, of death, of all these people, names and ages and identities, who should be sitting in their own chairs, who are supposed to be in their own homes, who are supposed to be walking up the doorway or the sidewalk to their houses and their offices and their businesses and their families and their parks and their playgrounds and their grocery stores. But they can't. So do we say Hamakom Yinachem Etchem B'toch Hash'ar Avelei Tzion B'Yerushalayim? I hope not. What can we say? We can put our hearts out into the world, and we can and will say to all of our neighbors, our co-workers, our Christian acquaintances, our family members, our friends, our strangers, people who walk up to us in the grocery store, and we can say, these are human beings who have been attacked because hatred and terror are blind, and hatred consumes and destroys. And there are Arabs who have died in Israel because of the rockets and the missiles. And there are Christians and there are people of different religious backgrounds and no identified religious background who are lost in the tunnels. They may be from the Philippines and from Thailand. Hatred blinds. And you and I have to be emissaries. We have to be courageous enough to stand up and talk to our peers and say, regardless of what your political affiliations or perspectives may be, we are witnessing wickedness and savagery and barbarism directed towards innocent people. And if Hamas were able to fulfill its goal, it would mean that there are no more Jews in the land of Israel. And by the way, side note, do you know who's next on the list after the Jews are destroyed? It's Christians. Because there's only one community that can operate and live in a Hamas mindset, and that's Muslims just like them. You and I are not political pundits, and we're not carrying weapons out into the world to be put on planes sent to Israel. You and I are members of Yisrael, and this is our obligation because we're part of the Brit. We're part of the covenant, and being part of the covenant means you stand side by side with your family members and your relatives. Instead of Hamakom Yinachem Etchem B'toch Sh'ar B'lei Tzion Yerushalayim, Chas v'Shalom, it shouldn't happen, which expresses our agreement and our acceptance that somebody has died, we're going to say, I'm going to walk out into the next week and in my own way support Israel, support my people, support those who have been kidnapped, and contribute to a reminding of the world of the need for humanity. If you will, please hand those out. Hand those out. If you will, please hand these out. This is different. This is different. You may need to share. These are different. This is not what you have already. This is something different we may need to share. Can we share, please? Can we share, please? On this side? There you have one. Instead of what's on page 26, this is what we're praying tonight. This comes to us from our umbrella organization, the Masorti movement. And the conservative movement is one part of World Masorti. Together. God of Israel, our rock and our redeemer, God of mercy, of compassion, we pray, we plead that you return these precious and beloved people, the captured and the missing, who have cruelly and heartlessly been torn from their homes and carried off to our enemy's territory. We are terrified contemplating their fate and horrified thought of what the missing and the captured are suffering right now. They lay beyond our reach and our capacity to save them. And so we plead before you, Father of mercy, be at their side, support them, protect them, and quickly bring them back to the embrace of their families and all who love them, as you have declared. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will restore the captives of Jacob's tents and have mercy on their dwelling places. We beseech you, Adonai, quickly fulfill your word. Here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. Indeed, I will not leave you until I have done what I have said to you. And now in the song sheets, we have Holy Ground. Holy ground.
Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you praise. All of life is holy ground. Every he, every she, every what, every who. It's in her, it's in them, it's in me, it's in you. In the bitter, in the sweet, in the calm, in the storm, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. When you hurt, when you heal, when you laugh, when you pray, when you hold, when you keep, when you give it away. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, all of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. take our shoes off, we're on holy ground. We are one people, one story, one tapestry we weave, one journey, one glory, one legacy we leave. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way, where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you praise, all of life is holy ground. Can you feel the holy ground? Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground.
In the Siddur on page 28, the last two stanzas, this is the psalm for Shabbos. Every Friday night, every Shabbat morning, for thousands of years, all Jews in synagogue or private prayer have said this psalm to say, this is Shabbos. Thinking of, take your shoes off, it's holy ground. Look at the last two stanzas on page 28. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, the righteous flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. We contribute to the holiness of the universe with our behavior. Not intending to be or thinking about certain actions. Our behavior transforms the universe. That's what the psalm says. We're making the world holy with a sense of respect and dignity, care, a passion for justice, honor, in quiet ways, without explosions, without noise, in daily life, we transform our world. We rise the Borchu, page 39b. Be like Borchu. Be like Bet, like Borchu. Be like Borchu. You know what Borchu means? It means y'all bless. Y'all. This is Southern Hebrew. This is y'all. Y'all do Baruch. Y'all say Baruch, sing Baruch, do Baruch. Borchu, at the end of a word in Hebrew means y'all, when one person is telling the group. Y'all do Borchu, y'all do Baruch. Here it is, Borchu. Baruchu et Adonai amavorach. Baruch Adonai amavorach le'olam boed. We were seated a few moments of silence on page 39b. Umariyam umei v'layla mavdibim v'layla netzot shmo el chai v'kayam tamidim lo chalelam voed baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. The English on page 40. With timeless love, you have loved your people, the house of Israel. You've taught us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai, our God, as we lie down and as we rise up, we shall speak of your laws, rejoicing in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever and ever. For they are our life and the fullness of our days, and on them we shall meditate day and night. Do not ever withdraw your love from us. V'avatecha al tasir mimenu l'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema on page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Hashem. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayol hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam Lavanecha, Vidibar Tabam, Beshivtecha, Bevetecha, Uvalektecha, Vaderech, Uvishachbecha, Uvakumecha. Ukeshar tamlaot al yadecha, ve'hayulet totafot beinenecha. Uktav tam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. A few moments of silence, considering some of the poetry in the commentary, and also page 42, V'hayam Shmoa and Vayomer. Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 44, Mi Chamocha is a song of surprise and relief and gratitude. We made it through. We're here. And there's a one-line introduction to the Mi Chamocha. It's at the top of page 44. Moses and Miriam. What I like about this is that the introduction to the Mi Chamocha as a reminder that a brother and a sister worked together. It's just their two names, side by side, in the siddur, in the prayer book. A brother and sister worked together. And somehow, the community made it through. U'malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha b'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norati lot ol seifele malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zeili anu v'yamro Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed v'ne'emor kifadar et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai gal Yisrael. Turning to the song sheet, beginning with the words Lador Vador, two very well-known Hebrew terms. Lador Vador means from one generation to the next. This is a contemporary piece. It's by Josh Nelson, Lador Vador.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are His story in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. The door vador nagid golecha. The door vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the door vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. The door vador nagid god lecha. The door vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the door vador, these lips will praise praise your name. Dor vador nagid god lecha. The dor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. The dor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Returning to page 45, on the English side, the last 5 lines, a little red arrow in the Siddur. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. At the top of page 46. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam barit olam b'nei u'ben b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam oti le'olam Shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam barit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam barit olam Uvayom Ashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam barit Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'yom ha'divrei b'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala u'v'zman kariv v'imero Amen Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach la'olam yalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparvam v'yinaseh v'yadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu leila mekor b'chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imiru Amen. We rise now, a few moments of silent prayer. The traditional text, page 47 to 52, there are 7 brachot. 7 is our number. It means complete, wholeness, fullness. In these moments, things are broken. The traditional texts before us or an opportunity for us to devise our own silent prayers. Wholeness. I don't know. Kaddish Shalem is on page 54. Yitkadal v'yitkara shemei Rabbo be'alma divrachritei v'mekokotei b'chayach v'miru amen Yehei shemei Rabbo mevarach l'olam li'olmei almaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparv'nosei v'yidadar v'yidalev v'yidhalal shmei d'kudashah b'rechu le'ela min kol berchata b'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata da'amiram v'yom avimeru amen Titkabel tzloton boton d'chol Yisrael kadam avuhon di v'shmaya v'ymeru amen Yehei shalom rabban shchas v'ymeru amen O se shalom b'moma v'yaseh shalom Holina b'kus v'ymeru amen. The full Kaddish is kind of like a giant bookend and exclamation point rolled into one. It's here to punctuate the service. It's here because your individual prayer matters. And the Siddur wants to demonstrate that your prayer and your prayer and your prayer and your prayer and every one of our own prayers individually matters. So the part of the service where you and I stand and offer our own private meditation is punctuated, you might say, sealed shut, but it's not Yom Kippur, it's not Ne'ilah and Chatimah. But that's the sense of this Kaddish. Without your prayers and those joining in at home, there'd be no need for a Kaddish Shalem here. Your prayers affect the Siddur. And roll that out in your minds on to the horizon of all Jewish people everywhere who are saying their own prayers in their own ways. Every one of those individual prayers matters to the community and transforms us. And that's why this is still here. We rise the Aleinu on page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanik goyei aratzot velo samanu kemishpachot adamam shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol amon Onam v'anachnu korimamishtachavim umadim lifnei melech malchei hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz Hu Moshav Yekaro B'Shamayim Mimal Ushrinatu Zo Ushrinatu Zo Begov Hei Miromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulatom Kakatu B'Toratom V'Yadatayom V'Shebota El Vavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'Shamayim Mimal V'al Haaretz V'al Haaretz Mitachat Ein Od Ein Od. Kakatu b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad Ushema, Echad. Please remain standing. In ordinary times, we might say that Mourner's Kaddish is specific to individuals who are marking their individual loss, their sorrow, their grief. A loved one has died. But these are no ordinary times. And we are standing along with communities and individuals and families sore and attacked and broken and grieving across the face of this planet. So I'm asking your forbearance for us all joined together for Kaddish. And our shul, which will always be remembered, maintains its own calendar And on this calendar, we remember with great love Mary Weiss Rossner, Mill Davidson, Teresa Chasson, Marcia Dantas, Morris Weber, Ella Sawalowski, Rosabelle Dreyfus, Robert Voigt, Phil Einstein, Jackie Berman, Sam Muchnick, Max Rossner, Milton Eichhold, Annie Janowitz-Maisel, Bernice Gerwich, Helen Marie McCall, Gertrude Collette, Samuel Camille, Charles Mitchell, Stephen Abels. We're remembering people whom we do not know personally. Two names came across my desk yesterday. Yair Nefosi is 20 years old. Elchanan Klein is 30. He was a father of 3. Remember, Kaddish doesn't speak of sorrow. It doesn't speak of anger. It does not speak of seeking revenge. It does not speak of explosions and picking up swords and knives and going forth. Kaddish calls out for faith and for world peace. That's our mission to the world. Remembering. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabo. Amen. Be'olma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye d'achol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zaman kariv imeru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabo mivarach la'olam ol'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitdaleh, v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha, b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'alma, v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. There's already peace in the heavens. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. We need peace here. We don't live in the heavens with God and the angels. We live down here in the turbulence of our lives. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu. We need peace for us. V'al kol Yisrael. And for everybody. That's what we say. That's what we mean. We are seated. We'll conclude in a moment. There's another song sheet here. And then after this, we'll turn off the stream. We'll be ready for Kiddush and Hamotzi. This last song is entitled Never Walk Alone by Ross Levy. And the nickname to this in the Hebrew is not Never Walk Alone. The nickname to this is Tefilat Haderech. May you have a safe journey. And in a literal way, it refers if you're traveling. In a symbolic way, it's walking out the door. May you know that you're in our hearts and in our prayers. Never walk alone.
Sheltered in peace. Walking hand in hand, side by side, soul by soul, may we someday all come to know
health and joy reach the hearts of each girl and boy, from now through forever. From now through forever. May we see the path that God has given us, and may we always be happy and free. Every step you take it safely, and in every stride, find joy and pride. May we never walk the road alone, and may we always be sheltered in peace. Adonai Oz le'amo yitei. Adonai Oz le'amo yitei. Adonai Oz le'amo yitei. May we never walk the road alone. May we always be sheltered in peace. Sheltered in peace. Sheltered in peace. Sheltered in
May the upcoming week be a week of Halavai, more peace. And if we can't even say more peace, and we say less sorrow, less grief, greater support, greater understanding, greater compassion. That's the prayer. Greater support, greater compassion, greater hope, less sorrow. If we can almost say more peace. To all those joining us, we can't wait to see you in person. Come on back, we need you here. And you know that you are loved and cared for.